So your career began with environmental law and public interest litigation, fighting for vulnerable communities and natural resource governance. What drew you to that work initially? And then how does that commitment to justice, how does that now come full circle into now this diplomatic world that you're in?
Yeah. I grew up in a village in the western part of Kenya. And over the years, as I went to high school and university, I noticed significant changes in our village, actually. Loss of species, forests, dwindling water sources. And it began to draw me in terms of understanding what's going on and what remedies I could. Remember, at 17, I had committed, I'd resolved, I would rather say, that I would speak for those who could not speak for themselves.
Yes.
And so I noticed things that other people did not notice, and so I kind of say, I want to investigate this further. And then it becomes a justice issue, because when people do not have certain access to certain resources that they need, it means they do not have the quality of life that they deserve.
Yes.
And while other people have it, then it becomes a serious concern. Now, when I am in this space as the ambassador, I engage with the processes, procedures, and laws that govern all those things that happen in my village.
Exactly, yeah.
So in a sense, all I have done is bring the issue from my village to an international platform. It's connecting the local to the global.
Yes.
And that, for me, is the essence of diplomacy. Connecting the local to the global. Connecting an individual person to the entire humanity as a community.
Another bridge. Another bridge. Yeah.
Our role is to be bridge builders.
Yeah.
Across nations, cultures, and ideologies.
Yeah. And in any I think that's like an analogy for anything in your life. Find out what bridge you're the one, because I think that's, everybody thinks that, maybe I'm too small and whatever I do is, but we forget that we have something unique. You always mention that, that everything in us is something unique. The way I'm seeing it is not the same way you're seeing it. So what bridge can I create for where I am to where the other person is? And that way also, which is also interesting, the same bridge that you're creating from the village to where you are is the same bridge that the villagers can come through to come to this side and see and understand what it is that you're doing the same way you're doing. And that's what a bridge is, right?
And in that sense, you also act as an interpreter. You get the people in Vienna in multilateral settings, whether in New York, Geneva, Vienna, Rome, to understand what the implications of the conversations that they have on the local scene. And then at the local level, you are also helping that to come and say, so this particular experience, how can it be turned into a treaty?
Yes.
How can it be a protocol?
Yes.
Because then it is not just about that village, but it is about many villages, and the world, as they say, is one big village.
Yeah. That's actually very interesting.
Yeah.
So again, you're a marathon runner. And you actually you ran the Vienna Marathon.
Yeah.
And you said that, you had the double honor of cheering on Kenyan athletes and running alongside them, which we watched you. That was amazing. What does that symbolize for you about leadership? Being both a supporter and a participant.
Yeah. And maybe we can also delve a little bit into this about our dual identities and the implications of that, whether you're a father, mother, or whatever. But being a supporter really is much more than just, holding the space. It is important to hold the space.
Yes.
And that's, for me, what I mean by being a supporter. When people were coming, some of them needed to get visas. So being there to make sure that you are actually kind of opening the gates for them so that they can participate. Meeting them in the evening on the eve of the race and welcoming them to the city and kind of telling them that we believe in you. And that is a power of word. So being a supporter is also about realizing the power of words. Words have power, words have energy, so kind of using my energy and gifting it to the others. At the same time, the power of you doing, because our human nature is also very visual. We remember more what we see than what we had.
True.
Okay? And so by many people, so by being a participant, the entire Austrian fraternity, through their ORF media,
Yes, the media. Yeah.
they're like, oh,
yeah. Who is this?
who is this guy? You know, okay.
Yeah.
And that was being projecting the athletes by being a participant, because it kind of projected them in a way that my words could never do. So I was expanding the space for them, expanding the space for Kenya, and expanding the space for diplomacy, in a sense. And that's why it was a double honor, that I could deploy my own voice, my own body into diplomacy, as it were.
I like the way you said that, because now the effect that you had of meeting and going to see the athletes before the race, before the marathon, and them feeling seen.
Yes.
That this is the I can say another thing about your leadership is you lead by doing. And we, as the ones who are under that leadership, see that. And what happens is mirroring happens. So we also had the first time we've had a footballer called Ogam, who was bought by the Austrian
Volkswagen FC?
Yes.
Volkswagen, yes.
Yes, Volkswagen FC. And he is the first Kenyan to be bought here in the Austrian league. And we did the same thing. We went to meet him.
Yes.
And what they said was that this was the first time that an ambassadorship or an embassy had come to meet one of the, because it was not the first time they had bought an African player, right?
Yeah.
And that has an impact. This is what I mean about leading by doing, and your people below you seeing what you're doing. And then it's natural for them to do the same thing. And the impact it has had on that one single player, because we want to push him. He's another young person.
And can I say this? Sometimes people know what they need to do.
Yes.
But sometimes there's almost as if something is holding them, but they need permission.
Yes.
So by running, as I did, I was in a sense also kind of giving permission to whoever wanted to run.
Yes.
It's the same thing later on when we went to do this cultural event at the Rat House.
Yes.
And we did this, and 2 ambassadors came to me and they said, you mean even we as ambassadors could go do that on stage? They said, then next year we are going to do that.
Let's clarify what you did. Let's clarify what happened so the audience can understand what this was. So this was a cultural event by an organization here in Austria that does that. And they show representing all the countries of the world, actually. And every country can showcase whatever it is that they wanted. So you're told you can showcase either your outfits or your culture, whatever, in any way or shape or form. And as we are known as the Kenyan Embassy these days, we go above and beyond, and every idea is accepted. And one of the ideas somebody said is, why don't we choose a song and dance to that song as we are on stage? And as we pass the idea to our ambassador, he says, then I will join you. And before you know it, we have an ambassador. The whole show, it was a 2-3 hour show. And you're the only ambassador on stage.
Yeah.
Right? And until today, people are still talking about that.
Yeah.
A very simple, very, very simple act changes everything, which is very interesting about your leadership, which we'll come back to.
Okay.
So let's go a little bit deeper in your little skills, because it seems you're multi-talented. You're also a poet.
Okay.
We have had the pleasure of hearing a couple of your poems, actually. So, but how does poetry fit into the life of a Biazé ambassador? What role does this creative expression role play? And why do you keep doing it? Why is it a thing for you? And sharing also your poetry. There are many people who write down whatever it is they write down, but you take the chance to share it to the people who you're with. Why?
Again, art in its many forms is a mirror of society. Whether it is a painting, like we have one over there, these different sculptures and all this, it's a mirror of society. It also shows the creative power of a human being.
Yes.
And again, to your point, you say you're very busy, so people kind of don't even expect you to have the time to do that. And the point there is exactly that you can never be too busy to do anything. You can actually create time. You've just got to be intentional. So the idea also is about intentionality, that you want to send the message about you can do these things. You've just got to be intentional. But two, again, poetry is about pushing, and at least the poetry that I do is about reflecting, but with a view to to doing something in the future. Yeah, so I use poetry also as part of my coaching, my mentoring, and basically my leadership.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is the other interesting thing about you when we'll talk about your leadership is that, and your coaching skills is you make sure you're available to mentor the people around you. You have an open door policy. That's what we have at the office, which is, and we're so used to walking into the office as when you're available, and you don't say, there's some people who say open door, but then when you come in, they're like, please, I'm busy. But it doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as that door is open. Even though I see you doing something and I say, good morning, Balozi, can I speak? And you say, yes, please come in. Just give me a moment, but please come in. That gesture, is that intentional?
Yes. And I'll tell you, some of these things, I'm a father too. And I've had the benefit of learning from my followers, i.e. my children. I'm a husband, and I've also learned a lot from my partner, my spouse, who is, and I say partner because that's the same level as me.
Yes.
And this particular, I'll give you other examples from my sons, but this one that talks about coming.
Yes. Open door policy.
Yeah. Yes. One day, August 2018, to be exact, we went for a staycation in one of the national parks of Kenya. But it was a very busy time for me. But I resolved, as I had always resolved, to be present in the course of the day with my sons. We'd go for game drive. It was my three sons and their cousin. And then in the evening, because I was so busy, I would send them for dinner, and I would open my laptop and start working. The second night, one of the boys came to me and asked, so Daddy, why don't you like joining us for dinner? And I paused and I asked, oh, what do you feel when I don't join you for dinner? They said, we feel abandoned, left on our own. I closed the laptop and we went to the restaurant, and we had the best time ever. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, what lessons did I draw from here that have taught me about leadership and even parenting, but bringing it back to leadership? One, I had made assumptions that by spending the entire day with them, I had given them enough. Okay?
We know children, it's...
All right? And your staff are your children.
Yes.
So you may think you've given them enough until they show up. And when they show up, know they need you. So that is why I say, come in. Because they are also, they are old enough to know that you're busy.
Yes.
So for them to still insist on your time, they need you. Make yourself available. look for that time elsewhere to take care of whatever you needed to do. Okay? So the question is, what assumptions do we also make as we lead? That we've given enough, that we have listened enough, that we know. So that was one. The second was the feedback that this kid gave me. We feel left on our own, we feel abandoned.
Yes.
Okay? And he was doing this with a lot of grace. Feedback is essential for leadership.
Yes.
But that requires you to listen with a view to understanding where the person is coming from.
Yes.
So this kid, and all of them in different ways, have taught me and reminded me about listening. That was extremely important. But in the process, which was the third lesson, is also reminding me, as a leader, to receive the feedback with the humility and the grace with which it has been given. Because he was not criticizing me. He was simply telling me what he and his brothers felt. Because sometimes as leaders, when our staff or other people that we lead give this feedback, we feel it as a personal attack.
Yes.
And so these have been very, very essential tools for me to apply in my leadership. So my children have contributed to making me a better human and a better leader.
Yeah, that's amazing. You can see that. And you can see it as, for us as a staff, we see the relationship you have with them. So that is interesting. And it's, I really want to echo what you said about feedback and how you receive feedback. Because sometimes, you said you ask them, how do you feel when and we do that even in normal conversations or communication with our friends, with our partners, with whoever it is. You ask a question, wanting that feedback, and then when you receive it, you're like, but you asked me a question. You asked me a question. And so that's interesting in that don't take it as an attack, because feedback is a very tricky thing. I think that you're even trained on how to receive feedback.
And how to give it.
And how to give feedback. I can say one tip is first start with the good and then and then continue. So as we're talking about the embassy staff, right? And you work with them every day, what do you hope they would say about you as a boss?
Well, my hope is that I made a difference in their lives, that I made them seen, that I made them heard, because I came and I said, we are all gifted, and that's really what drives my leadership philosophy and model, that we are all gifted, but we are gifted differently. And so the idea is to allow everybody to bring their gifts. And so I would hope that they say that I allowed each of them to bring their gifts, to come to the table as they were.
And that is actually true. That's exactly what happened with us. If I'm talking about my own personal experience, is that you always told me to do that. And when I shared with you that I'm also a coach and a speaker, and you said, so what else, what could you do? And you always have your open door policy, in that when I have an idea, I'm able to, because you also have conversations with us. It doesn't have to be our conversations are not always serious, because we need to start with a human conversation before we go to other things. And you do that. You start with the human. So in me conversing with you, I share an idea. And you're like, so why don't you do it? And you start asking me and you start poking me and saying, so what do you need for that to happen? And how would you make it happen? And I can say what that does also to my mindset, it opens it up for ideas. And this is when we were able to create a magical moment at the embassy by bringing Oyugapala to the embassy. And that created an interesting bridge also. Again, if we go back to bridges and connection between the embassy and the diaspora, and also some diplomats and ambassadors who were there. Because the conversation was not a diplomatic one. The conversation was not not educational, or you could say, about what do you call political. The conversation was human.
Yeah.
About mental health, about how we process grief, about our cultures. And that connects everybody. And we realize we all see things the same, but also different. Correct. And giving us a different perspective. So that is definitely something that you brought out personally. Wouldn't have happened any other way. And that one we're very, very grateful for. But in talking about that, we're talking about the culture of our office, of the embassy.
Right.
And what culture are you trying to create in an office environment? It doesn't have to be the embassy, because you've been the vice president and the director of all these institutions. What culture are you aiming for?
Yeah. Well, it's a culture of safety and vulnerability. A culture where people are kind to each other, and they are not afraid to make mistakes. Nobody should spend their lives walking on eggshells.
Yes.
And really, when people have that space, then it is literally a creative space. Yes. Okay. And it's also a culture where people can be authentic.
Yes.
Because there is nothing as I think disturbing as inauthenticity, because you do not know, today you get this, the next day you get the other one. That can be very destabilizing. And I'm talking about authenticity and feedback. I mean, I'll give you, again, from a leadership perspective, another example from another son. This is son number 3. The example I gave you earlier was son number 2. And I'll come also to son number 1 in his own way. And this was during the times of COVID.
Yes.
And we went to this nature reserve. But I'd never been there myself. But naturally, as a leader, you kind of do some quick investment in terms of reading about it. And, so I knew a little. And I said, okay, guys, when we reach, we are going to turn left. We go to the waterfalls. Then when we go, after that, we go to the caves and we continue. So when we finished the cave, son number 3 asked me, so where are we going next? And I said, I do not know. And he looked at me with shock and in his small voice, so you do not know where you're taking us? Then we are lost.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's an interesting statement.
It was a very interesting statement, because there are 2 statements that he said that are important. That where there's no vision, where a leader has no vision, people are lost. That was a powerful reminder. And that is why I say they make me a better human and a better leader, because they keep reminding me about these things. But the second was even more profound. Most leaders do not want to say that they do not know. So even when they do not know, they keep driving in the wrong side of the road, but driving until there's a crash, because they don't know what to admit. They do not know.
True.
But on the other hand, I noticed something. The confusion that it caused him as a follower, realizing that the leader that he depended on did not know. So how do you balance this vulnerability and the confusion that it can cause, your followers who kind of believed, that the leader knows where they're going and this kind of stuff. And so this is this gray area about leadership that we all have to work on.
Yes.
Yeah, so that there is still that respect and trust that is in the leader, while still allowing space for other voices to influence the direction people go forward.
Yeah, and this is what we call the open door policy.
Correct.
Having a space where somebody say, hey, but I have an idea, we could go.
Yeah.
And receiving that.
When my own immediate assistant can come and when it's time and would ask me, Balozi, do you think, or would you,
Yeah.
And the moment she starts to do that, I mean, in her own respectful way, she's kind of saying, this might be a better idea than what you're trying to do. And I say, okay, let's try that. And the more you try that, the better, it gets. And what does it do? It actually makes that more efficient.
Yes.
because then you are able to actually say, the person can go ahead and do it in their own way and say, this was my thinking.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to spend time thinking about it because they've already, and then you look at it and like, cool. Or you add a sentence to it and it's very good. So the efficiency goes up. There is a book by Stephen M.R. Covey, the son of Stephen Covey, called The Speed of Trust. And in it, he talks about trust tax and trust dividend. And he says, when trust goes up, the cost of doing business comes down and the speed goes up. Okay? Cost can be time and all that, and speed, of course. Think about the days when automatic teller machines were introduced.
Yes.
At least I'll speak for myself. I would punch and withdraw money, and I stood there counting the money.
To make sure.
Okay? Because I didn't trust the machine. So the cost of doing business, i.e. time, went up because there was a high trust gap.
Yeah.
The line was long because everybody was doing that.
Yes.
But now with higher trust, you punch, whatever it gives you, you believe it is okay,
yes, it is.
You move. So the cost comes down, the speed goes up. Now that is a trust dividend. The other one is a trust tax. Okay? And so what you want to create in an environment is where people can benefit from trust dividends.
Yeah. Well, that's a very interesting concept. Yeah. Let's talk about you pursuing your PhD in law.
Yeah.
And you did this in
Witwatersrand in South Africa.
Yes. Why? Again, we go back to the why, asking why. Why was that important to continue education, to keep doing that?
Yeah. One of the things that I believe in as a leader is you've got to invest to get better.
Yes.
All of us, at least most of us, but I believe you and I have smartphones. If you have had a smartphone for at least 3 months, chances are it has asked you to install or to update your software. Okay, but it's the same phone, but you've got to update the software. That is us. We've got to keep updating our software, either so that it saves us from any damage that we could go through.
Yes.
Or it makes us sharper, for the thing that we need to do going into the future.
Yeah.
That is the essence for me of, why I was doing this particular, course. And of course, the topic that I also chose was related to, the community, because I was studying, the regulation, the law and regulation of development induced displacement of communities. Again, going back to the people, how does the law as a tool for human progress become a tool for progress, not a tool for for retardation? And so the essence, and it is not just about PhD.
Yes.
It is about even when I went to do coaching at Georgetown in the US, it was essentially about how do I keep my axe sharp?
Yes.
Because if you have sharpened your axe and you cut 10 trees, by the time you're going to cut the 11th tree, that axe is not as sharp as when, so it takes you longer, you use more effort and energy to do that.
This is true.
So we've got to keep looking for different ways. It is also about unlearning old ways so that we can learn new things, because we are also dealing with a different generation. We're dealing with different sets of circumstances.
Yes.
So we cannot stay still.
Yeah.
We've got to retool ourselves every day.
Absolutely.
Because again, the tools of yesterday may have brought us thus far.
Yes.
But they may no longer be suited to taking us where we need to go.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
What if we talk about when we talk about that, developing ourselves and growing ourselves, this is something that I say all the time. Who you are when you're in your 20s is not who you are in your 30s, is not who you are in your 40s. You grow.
Yeah.
You've learned.
Yeah.
You've seen something different. And I think that you don't have just one skill. We as human beings, we one thing about us, we love growth, and that makes us better, and that we feel better about it. So I'm always telling, if it's my coachees or anybody who I'm speaking to, even my kids, what about it's about what other thing can I learn and what other things can I do? And that's why for me, apart from just working at the embassy, I decided to also do coaching and do speaking, because I realized that as you practice it, as you do it, it's something interesting to do. It's something that I'm interested in.
Yep.
And I'm over 35, 40, and I'm still, trying to do something. And it adds value, not just to me, but also to the people around me. Yeah. Which I think is also interesting about why you did this.
Because you cannot give that which you do not have. And if both of us have been sipping out of these cups, we have been depleting them. So if we are to continue sipping from them, we've got to add something into it. As we lead, we pour out. We've got to find a way of refilling the cup. Otherwise, we are going to be empty. And an empty cup, of course, can be refilled, but until it is refilled, it is of no use.
It's just an empty cup.
It's just an empty cup.
That's true. So for anyone who's listening to this interview as we're talking, if they're listening to it when they're in their early career, and they have aspirations to make some kind of impact, right? Whether in development, in leadership, in law, what advice would you give them? This person who's listening to this right now.
Okay, this is so I would again say, believe in yourself. You bring gifts that only you bring. And it is very important that you bring them, because the people are where they are because that particular element that you bring has never been brought. And it is that which you bring that is going to make the difference. It could be an idea, it could be a new thing, or it could be a new way of doing the old thing.
Yes.
But it's very important that you bring it. The second thing I would say is, again, learn to say no. I think about this when I was, a little younger. We kind of said yes to everything. I would tell younger professionals, learn to say no. Not everything needs to be done by you.
Yes.
And not everything needs to be done by you now. Because in saying yes to a request, technically you have said no to something else. And sometimes the no that you're saying to is what is most important for you. I'll give an example. I ask you, can you take me to this place? Now, if you say yes, it means that for that particular time, if there was a meeting you needed to do, you've said no to it. If there was a study you needed to be doing, you've said no to it. If you are going to go home early, you've said no to it because of your yes.
Yes.
So I would tell young professionals, learn to say no. It is okay. Because what then happens is you concentrate your power and energy to the particular big blocks that matter to you, and you're able to make progress that way much faster. The other thing I would say, be kind to yourself. You will make mistakes. Don't beat yourself for it forever. And if you must beat yourself at all, do so with a feather. Let it be a soft beating. But because if you stay so much down on the mistake that you've done, all you then hear is you're not good enough. The point is, try to make less of them and try to learn from them. But you will make mistakes. This is not a prophecy.
It's an surety.
This is a reality. Okay. So when they happen, be kind to yourself. The fourth thing I would say is be resilient, because these journeys of life, are going to take detours. You are going sometimes to hit a wall that is very unexpected.
Yes.
Some of the people that you thought were going to be your biggest supporters can sometimes turn out to have no time for you. And it shocks you.
Yeah.
You kind of even cause you to lose your balance.
Yes.
And like, what happened? You've got to build in shock absorbers to be resilient, to pick yourself when you fall and go on. But eventually keep moving. Even after you've fallen, wipe yourself, pick yourself and wipe yourself as you move along. Don't make sure that you're totally, no. Move along as you wipe yourself, even as you've been slowed down.
Yeah.
You may be limping, you may be bruised. Move, even if it's a steady pace. If it is an unsteady step, make it anyway.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you for that. As we come to the end of the conversation, you are finishing and closing your time here in Vienna.
Yep.
You have been called to the UK, to London, Kenya mission there. The commission there. And I remember when we heard the news as embassy staff, it was the saddest for us.
Yeah.
But as the leader that you are, what you did was you ensured that you gave us the tools to deal with that. And you called it dealing with the gifts of transition.
Yes.
Please, you need to share this with This has to be shared because I think this is something we all need to learn in life.
Yes. Transitions are hard. They're hard for us humans because they force us to let go of what we're used to.
Yes.
They require of us to move out of our familiarity. And boy, do we love to be just where we are.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is what makes transition very, very stressful. But we've got to invite ourselves and say, but how did I end up here in the first place? I ended up here because there was a transition that happened. There was a transition in kind of a strategy that created a role for somebody of my skills. Then I came.
Yes.
Somebody left and they needed somebody. That was me. That is a gift of transition, that without that other person having gone, you would never have been here.
True.
Okay? So you need to look back and say, I came here because of a transition. Number two, you have had an experience, like I have had an experience here that I would never have had but for being here. That's something to celebrate. Because I have met all of you different people. I have met different cultures. I have learned about new institutions. Transition came to me as a gift. Now, that is also very, very important. The third thing is, because we are moving out of our comfort zones, we are being called to learn new things. And going back to our kind of analogy of the smartphone and new software, basically we are being asked, we are being forced to install new software. Unknown to us, we are actually being improved.
When you're in the middle of it, you don't think so, but
being improved.
Yeah.
And so this is why I say, let us not resist nor fear transitions.
Yes.
Let us embrace them because they offer us the greatest moments of growth.
Absolutely.
You cannot be called an old man, a wise old man, and still be a youth. You've got to
go through
transition from your youthfulness to a wise old lady or gentleman. That transition has to take place. And that is the gift of transition.
That's good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Makoloo. This has been a really inspirational conversation. I am glad that I've been given the gift to, because what I really wanted was, or my intention for this, is that what I've learned, the lessons you have taught me during your time here, is that I am able to share it with others through this platform. And so this is a great thing for people to actually hear that and to understand why we see you as such an amazing leader and why we will miss you so much. So thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time, for indulging me like you always do. And I truly wish you all the best. I know that it's going to be an amazing journey for you. And we have prayed for you. We have done everything that we can to ensure that your ending is as beautiful as possible. But we are hopeful, and we just cannot wait to see where you go and how far you go. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you too. Thank you to you. Thank you to your colleagues at the office, because you have all prepared me very well for my new assignment in London. By this experience that I've had with you, learning from you all in terms of what you do, why do you do them, what motivates you to do them. You know, you've made me grow better in perspective, in knowledge, in wisdom, in patience, all the things that a leader needs. So London, please thank Vienna.
We've done our job, and now we...
Yes, so thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.